I walked into the dining room, and the air was thick with smiles that didn't reach eyes. 100 faces, mine, hers. Forks paused mid-air. Conversations died. My wife's lips curved, not in warmth, but in a precision-cut blade of mockery. She tore my photo off the wall, letting it fall in slow motion as if she knew I'd catch every second in memory. Silence. Except for her father. He handed me an envelope. Inside, a bill. $248,000. "Every cent we wasted on you," he said, voice calm, almost rehearsed. "Pay, or prison." Her sister leaned across the table, fingers curling around my car keys like a predator claiming prey. "Your wife transferred the title to me," she whispered, almost sweetly. And then my boss appeared at the doorway, eyes wide, shaking his head. I stood. I said nothing. I turned, walked out, each step measured, each heartbeat catalogued. 4 days later, their calls had become a storm. 50 rings a day, every tone a dagger. It took hours before I allowed myself to breathe, to think. Betrayal had teeth, and it had smiled at me, wide and hungry. The dinner, the keys, the bill, it wasn't just humiliation, it was precision planning. A surgical strike on my life. I replayed their faces, their movements, the subtle cues. The way her fingers lingered on the wine glass longer than necessary. The way her father's eyes avoided mine until he handed me the envelope. The way my boss didn't just enter, he was summoned. Denial wanted to rise, claw its way out of my chest. But I let it sit, silent and cold, while my mind worked. Strategy replaced shock. I checked accounts, phone records, hidden transfers, small omissions, tiny lies they'd left in plain sight. Nothing obvious, nothing sudden, but the pattern was there, like shadows forming a map of deceit. I traced every thread, every conversation, every glance that had felt wrong but I'd ignored. Then I dug deeper. I hired someone, a discreet check, nothing traceable. My car, my home, my bank accounts. I watched her carefully, like a storm forming in slow motion. I took notes. Every irregularity, every slip, every word that didn't align with reality, and I waited. Patience is a sharper blade than rage. 4 days later, I had everything. Statements, transfers, conversations she thought were erased. I sat in the same silence she had orchestrated at dinner. When I finally spoke, my voice was low, controlled. "Did you think I wouldn't notice?" I slid the papers across the table. Her lips trembled. Not a smirk this time, real fear. "I knew about the transfers, the calls, your plan, every lie." She gasped. Her father's jaw tightened. Her sister froze, eyes wide. My boss couldn't meet mine. And in that room, in that precise, suffocating moment, the power had shifted. No yelling, no accusations, only truth laid bare. And it was beautiful in its cold clarity. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't plead. I simply reminded them, through evidence, through patience, that every move they made had already been counted, already been turned against them. They had assumed chaos would follow their storm. They assumed I would break. But I had been silent, calculating, and the storm had passed, leaving me untouched, leaving them exposed. I walked out that night knowing everything was documented, every betrayal catalogued, and I didn't look back. They called, begged, threatened, tried to manipulate through fear, but their voices were empty echoes. The fire they thought would consume me had nothing to burn. I had anticipated it all. I had prepared. I had waited. And the truth had done the work my anger never could. I don't feel relief. I don't feel satisfaction. Only clarity. They are vulnerable now, stripped of their illusions, while I am free, coldly untouchable. My life is mine again, not theirs to fracture. I step into the silence, and it is heavier, yes, but it is mine. And in that silence, I find power. I am not angry anymore. Not because I forgive, because I don't need to. I survived, I observed, I calculated, and in the end, the betrayal circles back on them, sharp and precise. I walk forward. They remain in the wreckage of their own making. And I know, finally, the last word doesn't need to be said. Silence says everything. Every lie, every betrayal meets its end here. You've just seen what happens when karma strikes back. If this story hit you hard, like, share, and comment your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next betrayal broadcast is coming soon.